do you need to see from your punters, from Luke in particular, to feel comfortable for 20 some odd days from now?
Really, it's just about consistency. We chart everything that we do, and just seeing not a lot of catastrophic kicks. Just seeing the consistency out of it. It doesn't need to be a bomb every time. Just 4, 5, and 40 is what we're looking for. So 4 or 5 hang time and a 40-yard average. If you can do that, we'll be just fine. So just making sure we're consistent with it, especially under pressure.
For the other side of the battery, in terms of long snapper and execution, who's got the edge? Well, how much does Luke have an edge at the moment, given his time with the program, and what do you look for operation time-wise there?
Yeah, so we have 3 guys that I think are all really good. With Luke, and then Nick, and then also Colson, who was a Division II All-American that transferred to us. So we're really solid at long snapper. Luke does have the upper hand, just being here so long. He's really talented, really fun kid to coach. He grew up in Oregon. He's living his dream right now, so it's really cool to be around him. But it's competitive. Operation time-wise there, you're looking for 1.25 from the snap to the punter's hand, and then the punter has 0.75, so you're looking for an overall operation of 2.0.
How have you seen from Matt Rigby and him coming here?
It's pretty new. He just got here. He got married this summer, so he just got here. So it's still kind of early in the process to make too much of an evaluation, but certainly, he's got a lot of game experience, so it kind of provides you a little bit of an insurance policy there, just of a guy that's done it at a high level before.
Camden was really raving about back to Bosso, about Luke, and just how good he was, and how it probably doesn't go appreciated because of the position. Can you put it into context of how special of a player
Yeah,
he is?
I don't want to overtalk it, but
Okay.
but I came from Penn State, and a kid named Chris Stoll, who he was named the long snapper of the year last year, like whatever that award is, I don't even know what it's called, but in the country he was the number 1 rated. He came out and was voted the number 1 long snapper, and at this point in his career, Luke is markedly better than him. Now again, will he continue to progress? He can't be satisfied with where he's at, but yeah, he's very talented, very good, and really committed to the craft. It's one of those things that nobody cares about until you don't have one.
Right.
I've been doing this long enough that I've had some years I haven't had one, and it's not fun. So very important position, very undervalued. If you don't have one, you're in big trouble.
Do you have offhand the snap count of how many he had last year? Because, for those of us who had bad camera angles, which is television, he was in there a lot of times in meaningful snaps for PATs and stuff that fans maybe didn't notice, but how many do you know offhand how many snaps he had for you last year? Because it was more than 2. It was significant.
It was much more than 2. I've seen so many numbers the last few weeks with all this charting that I can't remember, but I rotated him every other one on extra points, and also put him in some punt situations, just knowing the situation, knowing that we were going to lose a senior. I didn't want to be standing here next year with a guy that hadn't done it. So it was way more than it was more, if I had to guess, probably 50, but I would have to look at the numbers to be specific. But he played a lot.
What's chart punts, or when you chart punts, excuse me, just what goes on in that? What are you looking for?
Yeah, so we're looking at we just have a chart that shows the operation time, the hang time, the distance, and the ball location. And so we're looking for, like I said, 4 or 5 hang time, minimum 40 yards, and then we have I say good, better, best. So you want to be from the hash to the sideline. From the hash to the numbers is good. On the numbers is better, but from the numbers to the sideline is best, right? It's a lot like golf. Like if you go out, I'm a really bad golfer, but if you went out and said, if you tell a golfer hit it just to the left of the pin, well, oftentimes they'll hit it way to the left of the pin. At least that's what I do, right? Because I'm aiming too much. So same with punters. So I don't give them where do you really want it? You want it between the numbers and the sidelines. But if you tell them that specifically, they're going to fire it out of bounds, right? So that the charting has that, and then it has a catastrophic section. So if you have poor hang time, so less than 4 or 5, or poor ball location, that's on there also. So every day me and Coach Lanning get the chart. It'll say, I'm making this up, but today it might say Ross James had 10 punts, his operation time was X, his hang time was X, the distance was X, the ball location, there was 7 that were good and 1 was catastrophic, and it'll have a little chart at the bottom. And then it's cumulative also, so I can look at today and I can look at all of camp. It's what helps you make decisions with those guys, so it's not just kind of my opinion or my thought. At this position, it's much more black and white. Same with field goals and kickoffs. You just look at the chart and go, okay, this guy was 28 of 29 on field goals, and this guy was 24 of 29. We're going with the 28 of 29, right? Just trying to eliminate risk.
How is the competition going between the punters?
I think it's really strong. Today Luke Dunn hit, I think they told me it was 66 yards, 5-2 hang. So in a competitive session. So you also kind of have a little bit different charting when you're ramping it up and putting him in game-like situations, which we did today. So it'll be ongoing. We've got 3 that are that I think have a chance to be pretty good. They still got plenty of room to prove that, but I think we have the talent that we can be competitive.
How have you seen Luke kind of progress in those game situations? I know you said during spring that was going to be really key for him. It's just getting used to the pressure.
Luke Dunn?
Yeah.
Yeah, everything's new to him. You know, like today he'd like, we did like a field goal, you know, where you bobble the thing and then you yell fire, fire, fire if you like bobble a snap and you got to roll out and throw to someone. You guys know what I'm talking about? Well, he's so new, like he forgot to yell fire. He just like grabbed the ball and started running around. We're like, you got to yell fire, and he forgets that everyone's looking that way. It's all just new to him, you know. So he's done really good. He's a really high level player. It's just going to be how fast he can pick things up, and then, you know, the unknown at this position that you can never really find out. That it's hard for people to understand that haven't done it is going into Autzen Stadium in front of millions of people on TV and the loud stadium and all that stuff and performing in that environment. It's the hardest thing for a special teams guy to try to put pressure on those guys, but until you're in that situation, you know, it's really difficult to evaluate, to be honest with you. Again, you put them in as much as you can, but there's nothing like doing it really on game day. So it'll be how well that translates to game day for everybody.
Entirely possible then for somebody to win the punting job, but the holder to be someone else because of experience.
Yeah, certainly could. You know, you get into travel numbers when you get into that of how many guys you're going to travel. Head coaches never like to just travel a guy to be a holder. They'd rather take another receiver or another running back, or, you know, which I understand. So you really want it to be one of the top two punters. And usually punters are super motivated to be good holders because in the NFL you have to. They won't even take you if you don't hold. So yeah, it's best if it's one of the top two that travels, because you typically travel 2 snappers, 2 punters, and 2 kickers.
Switching to defense, what have you seen from Cole Martin from spring to now? It's really stood out.
Yeah, just super competitive. You know, his competitiveness. He's like every drill. He's 100 miles an hour. You know, he's young. He's hungry. Always willing to learn. Spends extra time up here. You know, he's a coach's kid, which helps just growing up, being around it his whole life, and really excited about him. He's like a little Mighty Mouse out there. I'm excited about him.
Have you seen enough from him so far to think that he's actually be able to contribute to this defense as a freshman?
Yeah, that's not for me to say quite yet. We know we haven't had those conversations as a staff, but you know, with the rule change where you can play into 4 games, you really don't have to make those decisions till later. You used to have to make them during, you know, I've been doing this a long time. You used to have to make them like during camp, but now you can. It's more like halfway through the season when you have to have those conversations because guys can play early.
How much are Evan and Taishim in your room, or are they working?
Yeah, it's primarily going between safeties and corners, just because there's so much. Coach Lanning believes in double teaching different positions, so we'll spend more time in those rooms. But certainly there's, you know, specific skill sets and different things that go at that position as well.